I'm Laura Tragi, and I'm Veronica's mom.
I'm Lauren Evans, and I'm Veronica's cousin.
I'm Shirley Spreitzer, Veronica's grandmother.
I'm Faith Evans, Veronica's aunt.
I'm Veronica Tragi, and these are my note cards. Francis Bacon, a pioneer in the study of body language, once quoted King James I saying, "As the tongue speaketh to the ear, the gesture speaketh to the eye." With this simple quote, Francis Bacon emphasized the importance of reading body language, and I hope to do the same. Reading body language is not a talent solely reserved for philosophers from the 1600s or detectives on SVU, but something that people from every walk of life can take advantage of. Whether you're in an interview with a future employer, speaking at a meeting in front of your coworkers, or even just talking to your friends and family, it gives you an advantage that most people lack. When I first applied for my current job as church secretary, I was 15 years old and much too young for that position. Yet because I had studied body language a few years before, I was able to make sure that I conveyed the confidence and interest in the job that I knew I had, and because my boss could see that, I got the job. With this speech, I hope to give you that same advantage that may open doors for you in the future. I will show you a few forms of body language involving the eyes, arms, and overall posture, and what they mean, and I will also be informing you about the history of reading body language. Since this is a modern technique and not just a hobby from the past, I will also describe a few ways that you can apply it to your everyday life as you strive for success. At the very least, I hope after hearing this speech, you are more conscientious about what your body language conveys and that you would take advantage of its benefits. The eyes can tell you a lot about a person, especially about what they're thinking. If a person's eyes are wandering off somewhere else or half closed when you're talking to them, then there's a good chance you're boring them. But these cues are fairly easy to interpret. Others are not if you don't know what you're looking for. Pupil dilation, for example, shows interest, but you really have to be paying attention to the person you're talking to even notice this. Pupil dilation is involuntary, so unfortunately it's not something that you yourself can control, but it's something that you can look for in others. Another important cue we can receive from the eyes is whether or not the person is making eye contact with you. According to How to Read Anyone's Body Language Using Eye Signals from psychologistworld.com, if they are avoiding your eyes completely, they are either lying or uncomfortable. If after a job interview, say the manager says that they will strongly consider you for the position but refuses to meet your eyes, then you might not be getting the job. Persistent eye contact, however, isn't particularly great either. Perhaps someone had already heard that people who are being dishonest avoid eye contact, so in order to prevent being caught lying to you, they refuse to break contact. In other words, if you're going to lie, make eye contact, but don't be too obvious about it. Even the direction in which the eyes are pointing can give away something about their owners. If someone's eyes are pointing left, then they're probably trying to remember something. If they're pointing right, however, then they're doing a little creative thinking and maybe even coming up with a good lie. When reading other people or trying to alter how people read you, don't just focus on the eyes. The entire body can reveal social cues that you might need to pick up on. Take the hands, for instance. Everything from steepled fingers in confidence to hands clutched in nervousness can reveal the inner feelings of others as well as help you present yourself to others how you like. Hiding your hands in your pockets is a sign perceived as, "I don't want to talk to you," and even defiance. When your boss is reprimanding you for a mistake you made, as comfortable as it is, try not to put your hands in your pockets. Instead, hold your hands behind your back, opening yourself up and allowing for vulnerability, which makes you seem obedient and trusting. These rules also apply for the opposite of the situation. If you're scolding your little brother for making a bunch of noise when you're trying to concentrate on getting your demonstrative speech written, and all he does is stare at you with his hands in his pockets, then you're probably not getting your point across to him. Crossing your arms is another sign of detachment and reluctance to talk, and it's something that I struggle with a lot. I've had people tell me that before they met me, I seemed intimidating or even angry. My go-to comfortable position is arms crossed and legs crossed. Two big no-nos in the art of reading body language, as it makes you seem a little standoffish. Though it does help me move on to my next point of how your overall body posture can give off signals that you might not be aware of. When you're sitting in school, 5 minutes before the bell rings, and you're all hunched over, elbows on your knees, you look anxious, like every muscle in your body is poised to shoot out the classroom as soon as possible, and it probably won't make your teacher very happy. The same goes for sitting in meetings or talking to your parents or your significant others. When someone is trying to tell you something important, it's far less disrespectful to be sitting straight up with your hands resting lightly on your legs or held casually in your lap, which, according to Dr. Swami at nonverbalworld.com, is the known posture of an attentive listener. It is often difficult to land on that fine line between slouching and overly comfortable or rigid and obviously uncomfortable. Standing stiffly with your hands balled up into fists at your side is just as bad as the previously described posture, as it makes you seem nervous and tense. It's good, of course, to be relaxed, but it's also important to remember that your favorite comfortable position may be giving off the wrong idea about yourself. One example of this is sitting with one leg being supported by the other. Many people sit like this purely because it's comfortable, but it can also be seen as argumentative or cocky. While many people don't take much notice of body language, the art of reading it has been around for centuries. It is said to have originated and evolved from the communication habits of primates, and there's two types. Some are inborn and universal, while others are learned by observation of others. One of the first pioneers and students of the study of body language was Francis Bacon, an English philosopher and scientist. Bacon gave many speeches on the importance of body language, one of which I quoted in my introduction, and worked extremely hard to get it the recognition it deserved. Another famous supporter of body language was Charles Darwin, who was actually the first to study it in humans and animals. In his book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, he observed that nonverbal cues often reveal internal emotions, which David Webb explains in his article, Body Language History. Aside from being supported by one of the biggest, most well-known scientists in all of history, reading body language has so many benefits. Not only does it help you read other people in order to better understand them, it also helps you better understand yourself and the signals you give off to people. M. Farokh Radwan describes on ToKnowMyself.com that this can help you in pretty much every aspect of your life, from your career, your education, even your relationships with others. She emphasizes that only 7% of judgments are based off of what people say, so you want to make sure you're giving the right message with the other 93%. I've been a church secretary for 4 years now, and I couldn't be happier with it. If I didn't have the knowledge that I did about how to present myself and how to read my boss's nonverbal responses to what I was saying, who knows if I would have gotten the job. There are so many ways that you can read people just by observing their body language, and just as many ways for them to read you the same way. By showing you the different signals given off by your eyes, hands and arms, and posture, I hope you can see why reading body language is just as important today as it was in the 20th century. Also, by describing its numerous modern benefits, that you realize that it doesn't have to stay in the past, and it can help you in many aspects of your life. I encourage you to apply what you've learned today to achieve the success you deserve in everything from your career to your relationship with others. The eyes may be the windows to the soul, but body language can give you so much more information.